What is going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Pod Scum. This right here, as you all know by now, is the podcast where we dive into the deep, dark, murky waters with a plethora of legendary guests. I am, of course, your host, your bastard of ceremonies, the #1 scumbag, Rex Ruger. That's REXXX. You might also know me as the King of Sleaze, a.k.a. the Hair Metal High Priest, and most importantly, and the DNA testing is going to prove it soon, a.k.a. Diamond David Lee Roth Jr. Take one look, folks. You know that I am the son of glam. The front man for the band just smoked a lot of grams. I got a million fans. I'm your ice cream man. Mr. Wop Boppa Loop Boppa Wop Bam Bam Shazam. Hot damn. Ooh, I'm feeling good. Most importantly, everybody in the house looking good. You know how I get that done. Right there, kids. Coming to you, as always, from the Lavender Lounge of Love, and joined as always by the one and only Keith Hernandez Puppet. Bringing you, of course, the No Frills podcast. You don't get no frills, but you do get rock size thrills. And that's looking at the second greatest frontman to ever do it. And if you're watching us, please like and subscribe to the Pod Scum YouTube channel and check us out on Facebook. And tonight, we got a good one. Metal royalty in the house tonight. Put some respect on the man's name. God damn it. As we wait for him to get in here. And I am excited about this one. So excited, I'm going to give myself a second look. Dad? I want to get used to being able to say that and feel comfortable. I mean, come on. Tonight's episode may or may not be brought to you by some hits from the lovely Cake Pen. Might be a little more THC ingesting going on. We'll see. Play it by ear, right, Keith? I have to get my granny glasses on here for this gentleman. Don't want to miss anything, you know? And, of course, this is the No Frills podcast because, as I've always said, I'm the anti-Motley Crue podcast. No, we don't use no backing tracks, right, Keith? No cheating going on here. You see it all. I don't know how to edit. 50 years old, I will not edit myself. That's that. Get my quaff in order here, man, and be prepared for some thrash metal royalty. Salute. So we'll wait for him to get in here. And feel free, if you like to get right to the meat and potatoes, because I usually do too. Drag your cursor past all my useless drivel. I understand completely. No hard feelings. So while we wait, it is July 9th at the time of this recording. Oh, never mind. Our guest is here. Fuck everything I was going to say. We're going to chop it up on Pod Scum. All right. Do we got him here? There he is.
What's up, baby?
Hey, how's it going?
Hey, that was easy.
Was it? No.
I like easy. I like easy, bro.
But did you really think that was easy, or are you being sarcastic? Because sometimes it's not that easy.
No, I'm not. I'm being completely 100% legit. I love it. It's just as good as you were up there.
Good. I'm glad. And I, unlike a lot of other podcasts that I've seen you on, I'm not going to fuck up the name, Rick HUNOLT. I'm not going to fuck it up.
Thank you. All right, let's go, baby.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Because even though I like to use the alter ego of Rex Ruger without divulging, you know, I have a very difficult last name that gets butchered and botched a lot too. So I understand what it's like going through life like that.
You know what? It's to the point where, dude, I just honestly, most of the times I just don't say anything, bro.
Yeah. I hear HUNOLT a lot. I hear HUNOLT a lot in your interviews.
Yeah. All the time. You know, it doesn't. I'm used to it, bro. I'm used to it. So how are you?
So I'm great, man. I'm great, and you look fantastic, man. And of course, people are going to remember you as Exodus. I mean, of course, is going to come to everybody's mind. But let me fucking dispense of all that because this DieHumane album is fucking fantastic, man. So kudos to that, man.
Oh, dude, I appreciate it. Thank you so
Unbelievable,
much,
man. Unbelievable.
Yeah.
I've been cranking it for the last hour in anticipation of our conversation, and it's just incredible. It really checks a lot of boxes. I'm wondering, is this a nice breath of fresh air for you? Because, and this is not to impugn Exodus, because I love them, one of my favorite thrash bands of all time. But here you're checking a lot of different types of styles, though, where Exodus, and again, not to insult the boys at all, man, but Exodus is a pretty straightforward attack. You know what you're going to get with Exodus.
Well, okay, so there's a lot to be said about that question and that comment. So, yeah, as you know, I did Exodus for many years, and at this point, I don't even know how many years. It's pushing probably 30 years. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, many albums, lots of tours. They're my best friends to this day. I talk to them almost on a daily basis. But to answer your question, bro, it is a breath of fresh air. And, you know, at this point in my life and in my career, that's what I needed. And that's what it was going to take to get me out of retirement. You know what I mean? Yeah. So let me just start from the beginning.
Please.
Okay. Number one, I'm so glad you like the music. It's just, it makes me, so we'll go more into that in more in detail. So, yeah. So I'm sitting on my couch one day, just hanging out, and I get a phone call from one of my best friends from back in the day, Steve Esquivel. You know who he is from Skin Lab?
No, no.
From Skin Lab. Okay. So, he calls me up one day and he goes, dude, I don't know what you're doing right now, but, I got these guys in Texas that, I've been talking to, and we've been sending files back and forth, and they're looking for a guitar player, but not necessarily a thrash guitar player. They're more they're looking for a bluesy guy, like a feels guy. And that's why I called you, Rick, because I know that's right up your alley. And I'm like, oh, well, I appreciate you calling me, Steve. I'm not really in the market to be in a band right now, but why don't you just go ahead and send me some music? Just for the hell of it. So he sends me some music, and it literally sat in my messenger on my phone for about 2 or 3 weeks. I didn't even touch it. You know what I mean? And one day I'm going through my shit, and excuse my language. I'm going through my stuff, dude, and I see it. Steve's okay, and I see Steve's message, and when Steve says, that something's good, you have to listen, because he's been in this scene for many years. He knows what's good, right?
Yeah.
So just for the hell of it, I went and pushed it, and this song, I think, what was the first song? I think the first song that I heard from DieHumane was Ghosts. And I hit play, and given this, it was really rough. I mean, it was barely even finished. But I sat back and I listened to the music, and I was like, damn, this is crazy. For lack of a better term, I was just like, wow, I'm hearing violins, sax, keyboards, and like sometimes there's Garrett singing like a bird, and other times he's like screaming like a devil. And
incredible,
dude. He's freaking sick, bro.
Yeah.
He's so good. But anyway, I'm just like, man, this is like crazy music, So I really, he sent me 3 songs. I think it was Skeletons, Ghosts, and The Devil Sings at that point. And this was like, literally, album wasn't even finished yet, and this is about almost going on 2 years ago. So I listened, and I said, Steve, so what exactly is going on with these guys? Well, it's these 3 cats from Galveston, Texas, and they started this project in the middle of the pandemic because they were all out of work. Everything was shut down, and they needed a vice, and they needed something to do. You know what I mean?
Right.
So Josh and Greg, the keyboardists, started writing music. They called Garrett, because Garrett and Josh were good buddies, and he's the singer, Garrett. And so they started, you know, just sending files back and forth, and it fell back and forth, and it started becoming something that was pretty cool, you know. And then somehow they got Steve involved. And okay, so this, not very many people know this, but in the very beginning, when I first listened to the music, there was going to be two singers.
Okay.
Garrett was going to sing all the singing stuff,
Right.
and Steve was going to sing all the growling stuff. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And it was a cool vision, you know, that they had. And I was like, wow, that's badass. You know, so I'm envisioning like two singers, keyboards, sax, violin, guitar, and bass. You know, it's like 8 guys, you know, 9 guys on stage. Yeah. And I'm going, man, there's a lot of things that are really cool about this, but then there's things that, you know, because these guys have never put out albums before, and they're kind of new to the business.
Yeah.
And and I was also, the other part of my brain was going, wow, that's a lot of guys, you know. And if we're out on the road, if we're sitting in a van, how the hell are we all going to make it in a van? You know what I mean? It's like,
yeah.
You know how it is, right? So it's brutal out there, bro. So I said, okay, Steve, I really dig this music. Why don't you hook me up with Josh? He's one of the main guys, you know. And let me get on the phone with Josh, and let's get a Zoom going, and let's talk, you know, and let's talk about what everybody's plans are, what everybody's thinking about doing. So we did that, and we hit it off instantly, dude. These guys are super cool, super down to earth. There's nobody's on drugs, nobody drinks. They're all older. They've all got that shit out of their systems long ago. They all got kids. They all got jobs. You know what I mean? That is super cool. But then again, on the other hand, it's like, it's tough because we all got kids and we all got jobs and we all got lives, and it's like, and we all live in different states. And now what? You know what I mean? So that's a different part of the conversation too. So I get on the phone with Josh, and I'm like, Josh, this is really cool shit, man. So we talked and about what his goals with the band were, and what I was interested in doing, and I'm going a little bit fast. So okay, so right when I'm first talking to Josh, Steve gets a hold of Sal Abiscato from Typo Negative, right?
Right.
So, and then now Sal is in the mix, you know. And Sal, so I commit. I just said, you know what? I first thing I did was I talked to my kids. I'm like, you guys, listen to this music, and I have an opportunity to you know, maybe like for sure record this album and finish writing this album and record this album, but maybe, you know, to tour and to go on the road again. They said, Dad, dude, this is great. You got to do it. And I'm like, okay, forget it. So I called Josh. I said, I'm in. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I'm in. Everything's moving forward. And in the meantime, Sal is sending drum tracks from home. You know what I mean?
Right.
To all the songs that we're sending him, and they're just thunderous, dude. You know, Sal is like, he's the perfect cat for this band because he's like he's more of a Bonham guy. You know, he's more of a slower, groove oriented,
swinging. Yeah,
absolute groove guy who hits the drums extremely hard and is just he's a pro, dude. He knows when not to play, and that's what we need in this band. You know what I mean? So, and Sal is just, you couldn't be any better for this band. He's just an awesome cat. So anyway, and he's got a history. So so I commit. Sal starts sending tracks, and then I get on a plane and we go down. I go down to Texas, and we finish writing the album. Me and Josh, Garrett, and the keyboard player sat down for about 4 days and finished writing about 3 or 4 songs, and just putting little things on songs and finishing them up. And
what's that creative process like? Is it very democratic? Are you all pitching in ideas, or does somebody already have a lot of ideas?
That's the beauty about it. Well, most of it was written, but Josh is like, you know, we just sit in front of the computer and just talk, you know, and just talk and say, you know, because we have this, you know, let's try this and let's put this here, because that's the beauty of writing music with the computer, because you can like you know, he just moves stuff around, and it's pretty cool. But yeah, no, it's very democratic, and it's very much so like no ego, all about the band, and the band is the #1 priority, and just what's best for the music, the actual song. You know what I'm saying? So.
But I should add in here, though, I don't want people to think, though, man, that just because I'm saying this is a departure from what you did in Exodus does not by any means mean that this album is not very fucking heavy, though. It is very heavy.
Okay, so I'll comment on so okay. #1, it doesn't have to be fast to be heavy.
Right.
#2, it doesn't have to be crunch guitar to be heavy.
Right.
DieHumane, this album is heavy, in my personal opinion, on a way heavier scale because it's heavy on the emotion side of the music.
Yes.
This shit moves you, bro. It's like you listen to this album, man, and it's like some of these songs, it's like, what the hell did I just listen to? It's like
yeah. I like it because it's dark and heavy in a way like I equate to like an Alice in Chains. You know what I mean? Something that makes me feel, a certain way. You know what I mean?
No
it creates a heavy mood, not necessarily fast and brutal, but although in spots it is very brutal, though.
No, it is absolute brutal, but let me give you an example. Okay, Stardust Blues, the very last song on the album.
Yeah.
That song is like an emotional roller coaster. It starts off with clean guitars, and it's real moody. And Garrett, I think, in my personal opinion, it's Garrett's just his best song on the whole album. It's just amazing vocals, man. But then it goes into this thing, and then it just goes into this crazy, like, it's just a very emotional song the whole way through, all the way through. You know what I mean? It takes you on a ride from the very beginning to the end.
It does.
It's
now you being a Bay Area guy, man, and I don't know that I've had the pleasure of having a real authentic OG from back in that time period, man. Why the Bay Area is so fucking prolific for rolling out great thrash metal? What is it? The hot weather just cranks that inspires great thrash metal? Why that area? Why did it become so synonymous and so ingrained in that community?
It's a great question. Okay, well, honestly, the only thing I can do is just give you my opinion. Okay. It doesn't mean it's right. It doesn't mean it's wrong. It's just my opinion. It's my experience. Right. So it's my experience. I lived it. So I'll go on that.
Expound on just your strictly your opinion on it.
Okay. So I think, honestly, bottom line, in the beginning, if the Bay Area didn't have such a savage punk scene, there wouldn't be a thrash metal scene at all.
Okay.
Because that's where it comes from. You know what I mean? It's like it's crossover times 10. You know, DRI, perfect example. So basically, when me and Gary, we grew up on like the old Priest, Sabbath, Zeppelin, Van Halen, it's all the metal that we grew up on, bro. You know what I mean? So old English stuff like Jag Panzer, Tigers of Pantang, Angel Witch, Maiden, Priest, all the great Budgie, all the great English bands from back in the day. You know what I mean?
Right.
But then in being skaters and all that, in our scene, there was a mad punk rock scene in our scene that was huge, and it was big, and it was new, and it was angry, and it was violent, and it was drug induced, and it was fun, and it was all of that, dude.
Yeah.
And it kind of, honestly, dude, it bled into the metal scene.
It did.
And honestly, okay, so you had your diehard punks that didn't like the long hairs in the scene at all, and I'm not I don't want to call them skins because they weren't really skins, but they weren't Nazi punks, but they were like maybe neo-Nazi punks that were like, they didn't want the long hairs in their scene because I don't know why, but I don't blame them, whatever. But it took a while. Honestly, it took a while for the metalheads to actually go and be comfortable in the punk scene, like Black Flag, MDC, Dead Kennedys. the Verbal Abuse, Fang. I mean, all these great hardcore punk bands from the Bay Area.
Yeah.
But we all skated, so that was kind of like the the mutual ground that we had, was like skating and hanging out, and we all play, and then it just melded into this like insane fast, just thrash. We didn't until the word thrash even came about. So they had the Anthrax and those guys. They had on the East Coast, it was the mosh, right?
Right.
So we were like, it wasn't thrash for a while, dude. It was like more like speed metal is what they call it.
Yeah.
And so and then once the long hairs, I think once the long hairs, okay, so Exodus was I'm from Berkeley, the East Bay, right?
Yeah.
So down the freeway about 25 miles is San Pablo and Richmond. So that they're totally different parts of the Bay Area, as far as like what would you say, Lon? As far as like attitudes and diversity and morals and mindsets, and diversity is a big word. In the East Bay, we were really, really diverse because I'm from Berkeley, right? So
Yeah.
my parents are like hippies, and I love everybody. San Pablo, not so much. You had, it was different there, but yeah. So when I joined Exodus, it honestly was a trippy thing to see, dude, because it brought the East Bay and in the Richmond San Pablo area together. You know what I mean? And it was like, and then it became like, wow. After that, it was just unstoppable. And then the San Francisco crowd was already a part of it, and then that came in, and it was like 3 or 4 different cities and different cliques, all came in, and we all started hanging out at Ruthie's, and then it was just and from there it got crazy, bro.
Yeah.
And so, and like to finish the question, so there's the punk vibe, and then the melding of the metal and the punk, and then you have your metal guys that are doing thrash, and so many great players, bro. So
Yes.
so many great players, and they're all in different bands, and we're all competing with each other. You know what I mean? And it's just like, and that's what made the bar was set high, bro. From the very beginning, it was like, we took punk to another level, and then our competitive nature as being teenagers, being teenage male ego, brought it to
completely.
Yeah, brought it to like another level. Like it had to be good, or else you weren't gonna hang around. You know what I mean? It's crazy, but it was a healthy, because after we got Zetro from Legacy, which is Testament now, there was always a competition between all of us. Always a healthy competition. There was never really any bad blood at all. We all hung out when we weren't playing at gigs, and there was really no animosity. And it's even better now. It's like everybody's going up, and it's like so much love in the scene, bro. It's insane.
In your opinion, what prevents or stops Exodus from being a Big Four thrash band? Why not Exodus? Just as great as any of those other bands. In this man's opinion, of course.
Yeah. So well, honestly, I mean, who is the one that actually picks the Big Four? And a lot of people's opinions, bro, Exodus is in the Big Four. You know what I mean? Yeah. So, but I'm not going to say that from an ego point. I'm going to say that as like the people that I am with definitely think Exodus is in the Big Four. You know what I mean? And, I'm not, but why isn't it the Big Ten? Why isn't it the Big Five? Why, who's to say, bro? It's just like, there's so many bands that deserve to be there, you know, and I'll just say off the top of my head, you know, that Death Angel is definitely one of them in my book. I mean, that band is insane.
Yeah.
They're on fire right now,
No
bro.
question. Yeah.
Yeah,
Just saw them last year. Incredible. Yeah.
They're just crushing, bro. I mean,
yeah.
So good. There's not a weak link in that band, you know what I mean? And they're genuine. They played thrash from the very beginning and never stopped. Never They never faltered, dude. Death Angel is a true thrash band, you know what I mean? So who knows? But I mean, you know, I respect all the big four. I mean, look at what they've done for our scene, you know, all of them, every one of them, you know.
Yeah.
You might get on your phone and hear it and read all these stupid blabbermouth things about Dave and this and that about Dave and Metallica and whatever about Slayer and all this other crap, but it's all stupid, man. It's all dumb. If you got us all in a room together, bro, it would be nothing but love. Yeah, and I promise you that. I promise you that.
And at this stage of your career, you know, what's a comfortable itinerary like for you at this point in your life where, you know, if you were to take DieHumane out on the road, is that the game plan to go out and do any live shows with DieHumane?
It is. We're gonna we've got okay, so the plan is right now, let's see. The plan is right now is to first probably gonna do a live stream with production. And get that out there with a campaign, a live campaign. Once we need to find an agent, dude.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We have to find an agent. We don't have a label. We're doing this all by ourselves. So we have Worm Group, Ulrich Wild, who is our just such a great guy. He's the one that mixed and produced this album. It's unbelievable. Dude's incredible. But he's got a little label and we're getting distribution from him. But I mean, we're not on a label, so to speak, and we're doing everything ourselves.
Is there any chance is there any chance people could be in California and see Rick HUNOLT going so old school that he's selling them out of his trunk?
I'm already selling shirts out of my trunk.
Perfect. And CDs. And will this album be available out of the trunk of Rick? Can I get one out of the trunk of Rick HUNOLT?
I think you might be able to possibly do that.
I'm in.
Hey, that's full circle shit right there, bro.
Yeah.
Hey, that's equivalent to being on Telegraph Avenue in Berkeley, hammer tacking flyers on the phone poles, bro.
Yeah, I figured an old school guy like you would certainly appreciate that. One thing that I really love about you, man, and really respect though, man, is how candid you've been in past interviews about, you know, some of the dark points in your career, you know, post Exodus. I love that because I think that really sheds light on how taxing, you know, the life can be, where it's not just you're a rock star and everything is just, you know, sunshine and rainbows.
You know what, dude? It's I have to be that way because honestly, you know, I'll tell you something that's really, really incredible. Almost all the interviews that I've done on this album, that when I talk, you know, and I usually you know, a lot of the times the guys like a guy like yourself will get a hold of me and I'm like, okay, well, I'm not really I'll answer some questions about Exodus, but we're really here to talk about DieHumane. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. Yeah.
You know, and I really appreciated the fact that you were just like, yeah, that was awesome how you did that in the beginning. So I have to talk about my past because it's made me who I am today. And not only that, but there's people out there struggling.
Yeah.
Every day, bro.
Yeah.
And if they hear one word from my mouth that if I can do it, dude, they can do it.
Yeah.
Because I was a mess, bro. I'm gonna tell you straight up. You know, I was a mess.
Well, the one part that was very poignant and spoke to me very much, and you know, if I could be candid for a moment, you know,
of course,
my wife went through a period several years ago where, you know, and she's certainly very open about this. She would tell you if she were here, you know, she had to voluntarily surrender her nursing license because she had an addiction problem, and for a while when she couldn't work as a nurse, she had to go to work down the road here after going from a great job as a nurse to working at a Dollar General, which I know you had made the point about working at a dollar store.
That's exactly what I did. Yep.
And she really had to eat some humble pie. And long story short, she's back. She's recovered. She's back to working as a nurse again. But I certainly related to that part of your story. That really hit me a certain way.
It's just real life, bro. It's real life. Your internet.
Hold on, your internet connection was freezing for a minute there. Oh, there you go. Okay.
Everything cool?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So yeah, man. I mean, I don't think this is human story, bro.
No, hold on.
That's all there is to it. And if you listen, it's a step. If you're serious about getting to it, that's great.
Wait, hold on a second, Rick. Hold on a second, Rick. You're freezing up a little bit. You're freezing up on me.
I'm good. What do you want me to do?
I just don't want to miss a word, man. As you're telling this stuff, I think you're good now.
No,
try it now. It's just your connection. Your connection was just getting a little wonky, and you were freezing up on your end, and you were saying something poignant, and I didn't want to miss that.
Okay, no, that if you're serious about. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Yeah, you're just getting pixelated and you're freezing a little bit in your video.
Yeah, you're doing the same on your video. Here, let me move.
That's good now. Yeah, you're coming in good now. You're coming in very good now.
Okay, cool. So yeah, I'm just saying about that. In the very first step of the program is like. You're not going to, if you're serious about recovery, you have to admit that you have a problem, bro.
Yeah.
And then, I don't have, there's no shame in my game whatsoever. I'm the first one to admit that I was a mess, but look at me now. I'm 13 years clean. I wake up every day out of bed, healthy as hell, happy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Congratulations.
I got two incredible kids. You know what I mean? I got a house. Dude, I'm blessed. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And, and to be perfectly honest, bro, I get on Instagram, man, and I get on YouTube, and I get on Facebook, and I see these guitar players, man. They're just so freaking good, bro. These kids are like 16 years old. And I'm like, how is that kid going to make it? Does he have the avenues that I had when I was his age,
right?
18, is there clubs that this kid can go play? Is he going to have is there going to be fans that show up to his? Dude, it's kind of bumming me out. The whole thing with these kids and these younger kids and these bands. They're having a hard time out here. The social media makes it super tough.
It does. Yeah, it does.
But then it's like you would think. Being in so many households with this freaking phone that it would make it a lot better, but it doesn't. You want to know why?
No, it doesn't.
Because it's the politics, bro.
Yeah.
It's the gatekeepers. You know what I mean? It's like if you don't have 20,000 followers, the label's not even going to touch you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's horrendous.
Yeah. Now you got to work, and now another thing that I love about your career though is you got to work with some fantastic vocalists, and obviously the one you're working with right now, his name is what?
Garrett West.
Garrett West, absolutely incredible job on this on this Grotesque album, absolutely phenomenal. But the past guys in Exodus though, taking each of those eras of Exodus, what's your assessment of all those eras? And is there one truthfully that you feel a special kinship with? Obviously the Paul Bailoff years, legendary, Zetro, Dukes, all of them great in their own way.
Yeah, man, that's a tough question. Well, honestly, I have to say that, like you said, the Bonded by Blood years with Bailoff, there was a special energy during that time.
Yeah.
It was new. It was so fresh. We were just kids doing what we loved, not a care in the world. I mean, dude, after we recorded Bonded by Blood, I was in Europe playing with Venom, and I wasn't even old enough to buy alcohol. You know what I mean?
Crazy, I know.
Dude, and that's like, you know how lucky I was to be in that situation, man. I
Yeah,
mean, you know, and it breaks my heart that there's people out there that play so good that may never ever have that opportunity, bro.
I
And
know.
that, you know, and I never take it for granted, ever, ever, ever. So, you know, I'll just say that every era that I was a part of, um, Dukes, Zet, Bailoff, they all had their shining moments and they all had their bad moments.
Yeah.
You know, I could go on and on, but I'd rather not.
Well, let me ask
Just,
you about this album, then. Let me ask you about this album, because one thing you did on this album that I really love as a 50-year-old guy, I appreciate this, but instead of going like, and I know you did release some singles, but the whole final product, though, is a fully realized album. You guys didn't shorten anything up. You guys went with an old school LP, over an hour of music, very long.
absolutely,
I
absolutely.
love that.
So yeah, so it's okay. So it's not every song is placed for. It's not a what's the word I'm looking for? It's not a concept album, right?
Okay.
But
Right.
it is. Every song is in the right place. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And honestly, a lot of thought goes into the album order for sure. It's
Yeah.
insane how much thought goes into that, and how much back and forth. No, man, we don't want Crossroads should go here, and Epitaph should go here. And, you know what I mean? It's like,
Yeah.
but I think honestly, in the end, I think that if you drop the needle on a vinyl with headphones on or the CD or whatever, and you play it from start to finish, that I think that the absolute best thing that's going to happen is the best experience that the listener's going to have is the way that they're in order right now. It's perfect. You know, it starts and it goes in and out and up and down, you know, and it's dark and light and heavy and doom and crunch, and there's all kind of shit going on. You know what I mean?
Yeah, there is. And that's what I liked. That it checks a lot of boxes. I also hear elements that you really don't hear a lot in heavy music at all. Certainly some progressive, but I can even hear jazz, and certainly some stuff that harkens to like a atmospheric psychedelic type sound.
Yeah. So, well, I can't wait till you hear the new shit. Just wait till you hear the new stuff. So, yeah, man. I mean, when I was tracking this stuff, I was like, honestly, I was trying to put myself in like a David Gilmour type mindset, you know, with this music. I
Yeah.
wanted to be like David Gilmour of this century, you know what I mean? Like, I wanted to be like, I didn't want to be all out in the front. I wanted to be like more of a part, way more part of the song that kind of works like water. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, you know, I didn't. I mean, a solo is a solo, but it doesn't have to be like the loudest freaking thing in the mix. You know what I mean?
Right. Right.
And my interpretation of a guitar solo. Now, this is just me, dude. And this is just how I look at shit. This is just me. I'm a big fan of like a solo has to be like a song within a song. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's got to be. Ultimately, I'd like you to be able to whistle my solos and hum my solos. You know, like I put on a Pink Floyd album and listen to Gilmour, and I can just sit there and hum his solos like all day long. Like the melodies get stuck.
Yeah.
They're insane, dude.
Infectious.
They're infectious, bro, for real. You know, and I'm not comparing myself with Gilmour because I would never do that. But I'm just saying that that's the mindset that I took, you know, when I was tracking these leads and all this just background, like the essence of guitar on it. You know what I mean?
And when COVID hit in 2020, how did that affect you guys? Because you know, you guys were just kind of starting to get this band off the ground. Did COVID derail and fuck up a lot of shit for you guys?
Well, it did on almost every aspect of all of our lives except for this music. This is what basically why this whole project was started, is because of COVID. You know, Josh and Greg, the keyboardist, they're the ones that started this project in their house in Galveston, Texas, like because they didn't have any work and they were just, what are we gonna do? They
Yeah.
were just stuck at home, so they started just writing music, and it grew into this. It's pretty incredible.
And did you wind up getting COVID at all, or did you fare through it pretty
I've had
well?
it a couple times. I've had it a couple times.
Me too. Yeah.
You know, it is what it is. It's cold. It's like no big deal. But on the real, I would say, if I was unhealthy and elderly, I could imagine it being very bad.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know,
Now,
because yeah, go ahead.
Now, at this stage of your career, you know what I mean? How much thought do you give, as a guy who's got great albums already under his belt? How much thought do you give to the finished product? Because you know, you put your fingerprint on some of the most seminal thrash albums in the genre. I mean, nobody can disagree with Bonded by Blood, Pleasures, Fabulous Disaster. I mean, they're all classics in that genre. So, is it important to you having those kind of albums under your belt? You know what I mean? To really make sure that if you're going to attach your name to something, you know, are you setting the bar pretty high for yourself?
That's a good question. So listen, okay, so in the beginning, after I committed to this band, and after I got done with my solos, and Ulrich was mixing this music, and we were talking about the how it's gonna be released, and how we're gonna do it. We're gonna do it old school, release the album, and that's it, or are we gonna do it new school, single at a time, 5 singles, and then the album? You know what I mean? So we did the latter, which was all new to me, you know. And honestly, I just started my IG account like a year and a half ago. So I'm still learning how to use Instagram, dude. It's crazy.
I do a podcast and I barely know how to get to this point.
I'm not even kidding. It's super tough. And I can't stand the fact that I have to spend so much time on this goddamn phone. But anyway, it is what it is. So to answer the question, when we were 2 weeks before this album was going to be released, bud, and we started teasing with little snippets of singles, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Little video clips and little 30-second clips and this and that. I was freaking terrified, bro. Because the music is so different, and it's almost so different you can't even really attach a genre name to it. It's like, and Exodus, the thrash crowd, you know, everybody, 9 out of 10 people, you know, heard that Rick was going to release a new album, thought there was going to be thrash.
Yeah.
So I had to iterate. I had to go over and over and over. I would just post, you know, once a week. All right, we're about to release a single. Just want you guys to get ready.
Yeah.
It's a lot different.
It's not gonna be not gonna be what you expect.
You know, and that's exactly what I use. It's not gonna be what you expect.
Yeah.
So, and I was terrified, dude. I was so nervous. I can't even begin to tell you. I was like, and then Oblivion, the first single dropped, and I was like, I sat down the day after we dropped the first single. I took a deep breath and I hit Facebook and I got on my phone and I went on a thread and I started reading and I'm going, holy shit, dude, they like it. Oh my God, they like it.
Yeah.
Holy shit, they like it. I was like screaming up and down. It was like, that was like honestly one of the best feelings I've ever had in music ever.
But backtracking, I don't know because that might have been when we were having the technical difficulties. Earlier I'd asked you, you know, to what degree do you want to go out at this stage of your life and tour this? I mean, you know, is there an itinerary that fits your currently where you are in life? You know, but you want to go away for weeks, months, like you know what I mean? Like, what's comfortable touring for you nowadays?
That's what's being talked about right this very minute. So in the plans, after we get this shit ready to go for shows, we're thinking right now, because the touring life is so it's super difficult, dude. I mean, gas, the you know, and honestly, I mean, okay, so we're not a baby band, but we're a new band, you know, and you have to be realistic. We'll probably be in a sprinter band, you know. So you have to think about that. So I think all of it, and Garrett, the singer, is a high school teacher, so he teaches English in high school in Texas. So his time is like, you know, there's certain times where he can leave and there's certain times where he can't. But I think we're gonna go for the we're going to hit the markets where we're most popular. You know what I mean? As of the time when we leave, we'll do homework, and where are we selling more albums, where are we playing, where's our shit being played most on the radio, and go from there. Plan the tours, maybe do a week, maybe 2 max, and then come home. You know what I mean?
That's
and just go out quick and come back. You know what I mean? It's not going to be no 2 months, 3 months on the road. I mean, if a major label wants to sign us and they want to do that, and okay, yeah, because I mean, this music demands production. It demands a big thing. You know what I mean? Because the music is intense. The way I see it live on stage is like very theatrical. There's a lot going on. There's lots of times when there is no guitar in the music playing at all.
Right.
You know what I mean? So what am I going to be doing?
And what do you anticipate in a live setting? And what would you anticipate an actual stage production would be, though, to replicate everything that's going on this album?
So everybody will have their own spot on the stage. I picture drums and keyboards will be elevated, and then there'll be another. You know how everybody on stage, they got those little step-up platforms that I call them ego ramps. You know what I mean? They get up on there and do little things. Yeah. So the sax and the violin will be up one level from us, which is the guitar, bass, and singer. There'll be us 3 on stage. Then there'll be the sax and the violins just above that, and then there'll be the keyboards and the computer and the drums on a bigger riser up top. You know what I mean?
Full production. Yeah.
Man, it's got to be, dude. It's got to be. You know what I mean? Yeah. So it's going to be and with the digital age, it's going to be all in ears, and it's going to be a big deal. So it's going to take a lot of work, bro. It's going to be a lot of work. But the talent in this band is off the hook. It's insane.
Agreed. And let me ask you this, in today's music business, with so many songs being uploaded onto these fucking streaming platforms and so much influx of music out there, how fast do you think, and I know you just put this album out, you're hot on the heels of it, but how fast in today's market, when people are forgetting everybody so quickly and people's attention is dwindles so fast, how quickly do you think about following this up? Do you guys already have a conversation about, shit, when's the next thing we got to get out? I mean, I know you just put out an hour plus worth of music here, but
every day. Yeah. We're every day. Right now we're I'm not going to mention any names, but right now our whole thing is doing collabs. We're hunting down big names to come and sing on our albums. You know what I mean? So that's the next phase. I think we're going to release an EP. So when I get my copies of the vinyl, I'll send you one. Okay. Yeah, there's a couple songs on there that's not on the CD that are like cover songs that are freaking brilliant, dude. You're gonna love them. I'm not gonna say anything right now, but I'll surprise you with them. But yeah, we got some collabs in the makings right now. Some pretty big names. But me and Josh, we're talking about new shit all day long, every day.
If this music wasn't going in so many directions, it wasn't so damn interesting and have so much going on, could regular thrash have pulled you out of retirement? Would you even want to play that? Is it because this is so challenging that you're so kickstarted and inspired?
Okay, that's a good question. So listen, one of the main reasons I've even to this project, bro, is number 2 that I feel it's very, very important to break the rules, to not. I mean, I could have easily done a thrash album, dude. I mean, it would have been so easy. I just make a couple calls. Let's go do this. You know what I mean? I mean, it's so easy. Right. This, on the other hand, was like, it's breaking rules, dude. It's like and hopefully it gives other bands and younger kids, the balls enough to experiment and be different, dude, and to do something. Because look, if you put on Bonded by Blood, we recorded that in '83, bro. It was released in '85. Okay, yeah. If you listen to the state-of-the-art thrash albums now, Persona non grata, literally the same riffs, just redone. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. It's the same guitar tone, the same drum sound, the same bass tone. It's 40 years, man. 40 years.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? What does that tell you?
Right.
That tells you that it needs Sleep Token.
Yes. Very interesting band. Yeah.
Okay. So you got bands like Sleep Token, DieHumane, the new oh my god, I just had a brain fart. What's the what's the big band that just not Five Finger Death Punch, but they just released a new album that's really badass. It's so different. I can't remember the name. I'll remember.
Okay.
But anyway, there needs to be bands like this for the whole scene of metal, the tree of metal to evolve. You know what I mean? Or else it's going to be stagnant, bro. You know, it just is. It's just going to be. There's going to be a time where all the music that's been putting out, it's all going to sound the same, and people, it's just going to die. It's going to die. You know, it's got to be new blood. I mean, you know, like I said, it doesn't have to be fast to be heavy. Heavy is heavy, bro. You know, there's different heavies.
Levels of heaviness. There are. Yeah, that's true. There are different levels of heaviness. You know, this is heavy in a way that Exodus was not heavy, and vice versa.
Absolutely. 100%. 100%. Oh, well, 100%. Not Seven Dust. They're a big band, dude, and they're huge, and they just released an album.
Slipknot?
No, not almost Slipknot though. Not Five Finger Death Punch. GXTP. What they call them? Oh my god. When I remember, it's gonna drive me crazy. Anyway, I'll remember it. But their new album is like really different, and it's really insanely good. It's just badass. I love it. So Garrett's really he's really up on all the new bands. You know, he was in a band called the Nova Skyway. Have you heard them?
No. I'll write that down though.
Yeah, write it down. That was his first band. They were good. They're really good. A Nova Skyway. Yeah, and they're from Texas, so they're from like the Pantera crew, the Exhorder, you know, that whole trip.
Now, I'm interested to ask you this. I don't know if you're aware of this news or not, but the stories going around the internet are that that Gary Holt is going to go ahead and write his memoir. Does Rick HUNOLT ever have a book in him, or is that even not an avenue you'd want to even go down?
I've been approached a couple times. I not at this point. I don't know.
Okay.
For me, I mean, I have a lot of. Honestly, dude, a lot of it's a blur, bro. It's just so much happened.
Yeah,
and we
I can relate to that.
You know what I mean? We were so crazy that it would literally take someone like a legit author to sit there with me and like grab it out of my brain somehow. I don't know how they do that, but I can't write like that. I mean, I could most certainly sit down with someone and I don't know how
relay your story to them. Yeah.
You know what I mean? I could do that. But maybe so. We'll see. I mean, I got plenty of time. You know, my story's not done. I'm not finished yet.
Yeah. And now the DieHumane album is certainly an album to be proud of. When you look back on the wonderful swath of work you did with Exodus, is there a favorite album in there? Just out of curiosity, a favorite Exodus album?
Man,
I'm a little partial to Fabulous Disaster myself, but that's
I love
me.
Fabulous Disaster, but we played that stuff so much. So I mean, if you're talking about like a commercial anthem type album, Fabulous is definitely the one. But if you're talking about like a deep cut, like serious songs that were just like crushing from beginning to end, that are just like, as a guitar player, you sit down and listen, you go, God damn.
Yeah.
That shit was bad.
Yeah.
I'd have to say Impact is Imminent.
Yeah. A
That's
criminally underrated one that I feel like doesn't get mentioned enough.
And only because the vocals aren't really that great, to be honest. You know what I mean? I mean, they're good, but they're not great, you know? And it takes it's a taste. You have to acquire the retro taste on that album. But I mean, you know, Temple of the Damned's incredible too. I mean, I think they're all good.
Yeah.
But I think some of the songs on Impact are just like Changing in the Guard, Within the Walls of Chaos. some of those songs are just so badass, dude.
And when you look at the way the music business has changed now, did you ever think back when you were putting out albums with Exodus that we would be here now and that we'd be using our phones for fucking stereos and plucking songs off of, internet services?
No, you know what? Yeah. So this, I mean, when I retired, so to speak, was right after Temple of the Dam, was probably 2006. And I went back out with Exodus in 2012 to Europe and did a tour to help Gary because he was on tour with Slayer.
Yeah.
So everything I did in the recording studio was pre-digital, right?
Right.
So I'll never forget the first day I saw an iPhone. One of our sound men had it, and he plugged it into the soundboard, and he goes, "Check this out." The little tiny, it was one of those little tiny iPlayers, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And he goes, "Check this out," and he plugs it in, and he hits play, and it was just like this huge sound out of the PA, and I was like, "Holy shit, what is that?" He goes, "Dude, this is it. This is the future." And I was like, "Wow, look at that thing!" And then the iPhones came, and who'd have thought? Who'd have thought? But the business aspect of it, I just wish it would go back to this. I wish Spotify would leave. I wish all this streaming would go away.
Yeah.
And I wish we could release albums the way we did and actually make money off the recordings.
Is there
what I mean?
Is there a way, in your opinion, that the record companies back when they did exist, that they could have got their foot in the door on these streaming services and somehow finagled a way to get you guys paid better?
The answer to that question is yes, if everybody was coming at it from a mindset of let's be fair and let's all make money.
Right.
Yeah. Like in a legitimate business, like in a business that's successful and has longevity, it's a give and give situation. Everybody that leaves the negotiating table has to be happy, right? Or else it's not good. It's not going to last, bro. It's not. And in this, see, that's one thing that Exodus has that 9 out of 10 bands don't, and that's longevity. You know what I mean? And that's a huge word in this business, dude. You know what I mean? I mean, Exodus has been around, and this is why I tell all these kids that I talk to every day. The most important thing about being in a band right now today is you have to be able to get along with your guys. If you can't get along with your guitar player or your drummer, then you're wasting your time, bro.
Yeah.
Period. I don't care how good you are, how much money you got, what your gear is. If you can't get along with your drummer, then you're wasting your time, bro. Period. That's it.
Yeah.
There has to be a mutual respect and all egos checked at the door. That's it. Period.
Well, Rick HUNOLT, this has really been fun. I hope when you want some guest vocalists that you will obviously remember Diamond Dave over here, Diamond Dave Jr.
I seen your.
Yeah, I mean, come on, man. I want a guest spot. I want a guest spot on a DieHumane album.
I seen your picture, dude. The David Lee Roth. I was like, yeah, dude. Diamond Dave is my favorite. It's like, Van Halen's my favorite band in the world. So.
Yeah, he's quite the front man, and hopefully he will find out sooner than later that he has a child here in upstate New York. But that's a different story.
For real?
No, I wish. Well, yes, I guess I gotta say for real there, Rick.
Yeah.
So I wish for real, Rick. Just a little taste of that Panama money, a taste.
I know, just a taste. Where are you calling from?
I'm in upstate New York.
I can hear the accent. Yeah. Upstate's beautiful though. I love it.
If you want to be covered in snow 8 months a year, but yeah, it's not bad. It's not bad.
It's really pretty, dude. It gets butt-ass cold, but it's pretty.
Yeah, it does get very cold. Listen, man, this has been a blast getting a chance to talk to you and a real honor, man. I'm so glad you did this, man.
Yeah, me too, man. My pleasure. It's always a pleasure, dude, for sure. So listen,
I can't tell people enough to go out and check out DieHumane. This Grotesque is the name of the album.
We need the fucking press, dude. So listen, you got my messenger. Keep in track, and I'll send you a shirt.
Okay.
And I'll send you a vinyl.
Okay, sounds good. Sounds good. Yeah, I appreciate you doing this, Rick. It was really a pleasure talking to you, man. Really.
My pleasure, dude.
Yeah.
Thank
you,
so
brother. Stay in touch, man. We'll do it again sometime.
Let me know when this airs, dude.
I will. Definitely. I'll send you the link so you can share it. Yeah.
Yeah. Perfect.
Definitely. Thank you, Rick. I appreciate you, brother.
All right, brother. Thank you so much.
Right. Yep. Bye. Later. There he goes, folks. Need I say more? That is Rick HUNOLT. I should just be able to for metalheads, I should just be able to stop right there and say no more. But I will elaborate. That is Rick HUNOLT. You know him from his years in Exodus, only from 1983 to 2005, which is all their fucking phenomenal albums: Bonded by Blood, Pleasures of the Flesh, Impact is Imminent, Fabulous Disaster. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. That guy is an OG, a real OG. Put some respect on his name. Rex Ruger approved, all that shit. Anything Rick HUNOLT is going to throw his name on is going to be fucking legit badass. And his new band, no different. DieHumane. That is the name of the group. And the album is Grotesque. But it is far from grotesque. If grotesque means grotesquely fucking awesome, but it is that, though, seriously. Elements of prog, jazz, certainly a slight departure from what we know Rick does in his years in Exodus, but heavy as fuck still growling, clean vocals, very different instrumentation, elements of jazz, certainly elements of industrial, psychedelia, atmospheric. It's got it all. Checks a lot of boxes and manages to be fucking dark and sinister and heavy and all that fucking shit that we love in our fucking rock and metal. Checks all the boxes. And of course, go back and look up anything Rick did in Exodus. Anything that's got his fucking thumbprint on it, kicks ass. So I hope you guys enjoyed that conversation as much as I did. That was a super duper fucking episode and a fucking honor to talk with a true rock warrior like Rick. He's been fucking to hell and back and still fucking cranking out killer music. I salute him. And I hope you guys enjoyed that episode. Until we get together and we do this thing again, Keith, fucking killer episode. Remember, kids, take it easy and keep it sleazy.